in the region. Bloomberg has released a report saying Russia is allegedly sending thousands of migrants and foreign students to fight alongside its troops in the war against Ukraine for visa renewal. The business news platform says the assessment was done by some European officials who alleged the Kremlin was doing so to add extra manpower using the tactics first deployed by the Wagner mercenary group. The report added that Russia has been threatening not to extend the visas of African students and young workers unless they agree to join the military, according to officials familiar with the matter. Chairman, Nigerians in Diaspora Organization in Russia, Dr. Godwin joins us now to discuss this report. Dr. Godwin, thanks for joining us. And I'm sure that you've seen this report. I mean, you must have had messages coming from all over the country drawing your attention to this. And you've read it. You have had experience with Nigerians who are in Russia and, you know, their experiences. And you've also seen this war. We've talked to you a lot about this. Is there any truth to any of the allegations in this report?
Thank you once again for having me. Of course, there's no truth whatsoever to this report. In fact, it couldn't be farther from the truth. I mean, it's clear that there's a special military operation going on, but Russia has not only the initiative at the front, but it outnumbers Ukraine by 2 to 3 times more, and it has 20% of the former Ukrainian territory. And there's a new offensive in Kharkov, there's a new offensive in Sunni region. It's very unlikely for Russia that has an excess of troop and non-shortage of manpower to be the one who is trying to look for any sort of person. But, you know, that does not mean that people cannot volunteer. Both sides in this war, or do I call it military operation, both in Russia and Ukraine and NATO, even NATO special contractors, they all need mercenaries. They all try to recruit people. And that's absolutely normal for every side. By saying that it is forced or people with business visas are told to go to the front, it's just absolutely nonsensical.
Yeah, it almost sounds like fake news, you know, really. And this story is making the rounds, especially on diaspora platforms where people have been reacting to them. I've seen, you know, some of the comments made on this. People are saying, you know, because a country like Nigeria, I mean, just, you know, just having the wrong, you know, conversations about this, not even questioning, you know, where this could be coming from or the motives behind such a report as this. And you rightly mentioned that Africans have been enlisting to join the Russian army, even during the period of the war, but they're not being forced, are they?
No one is forced. There are so many reasons why Nigerians, especially those with dual citizenship, so Russia allows dual citizenship, who may want to defend their country of residence. Maybe they love the country, maybe they are fighting for their family, or maybe they do not have residency and hope that, you know, through their loyalty and dedication to the motherland, the government could consider giving them expedited residency. All these are all business, social, economic interests, and maybe security also interest in terms of defending your family. But there's no one that is forced. Moreover, I'd like to call your attention to the fact that we have an embassy, the embassy of Nigeria in Russia, and there's no such report, not just from the Nigerian embassy, from all African countries in Russia. There's no such report. I am in contact with tens of thousands of Nigerians in Russia. In fact, they were the ones who called my attention, as you rightly pointed out, to the fake news article and said, well, what's going on? We have not heard about this. Have you? What is going on? I said, I haven't, surely haven't. So I tried to do some research on the person who wrote the article, who's Adekunle, who has some affiliation with Bill Gates and Melinda Foundation, a U.S. foundation. So maybe I can understand his affiliation, but he also quoted Bloomberg, which is also an American company. And obviously, we know America sees Russia as a competitor. So it clearly looks like a sponsored campaign against Russia to sow unrest among Nigerians in Russia. But that didn't work because we have direct contact with all our members. We swiftly informed them, and many of them said, thank you so much for calming us down. Thank you so much for giving us the truth. And thank you so much for making sure that this propaganda campaign failed.
Yeah, it does seem like a propaganda piece, doesn't it? So I'm just wondering, how dangerous this sort of information being released out there, how dangerous it could be for everyone involved. First of all, for the Africans who reside in Russia, and then for even those of us outside who are reading it and wondering what exactly is going on.
It's absolutely crazy because it's coming at a particular time when Nigeria and Russia are improving bilateral relations. Nigeria has applied officially or unofficially to join the BRICS, and they obviously would love to also be part of the BRICS nations. We have 30 countries that have indicated interest. It's coming at a time where Russia and Nigeria are increasing trade turnovers. It's coming at a very important time in geopolitics, and I think it's very ill-advised because there's nothing to gain. I think both the East and the West would be much better if East and West get along together because they add so much value. But this kind of campaign does nobody no good because it causes unrest and it just causes the wrong kind of public reaction. I think the aim of regime change in Russia has already failed. We have our commander-in-chief and our President Putin. The attempts to change him failed woefully. Why can't those people who are still doing this turn the page and move over to the next thing rather than trying to cause unrest in a country that really doesn't need it?
Just to establish a fact that the Nigerian community in Russia, in Moscow also where you are, they're all fine. Everyone is okay. Nobody's been dragged from their homes in the middle of the night and being compelled to be conscripted into the Russian army. No one is being forced to do things that they're not supposed to be doing. I did speak to a Nigerian who is also resident in Moscow, and he says things are fine. Nigerians are really having the time of their lives living in Moscow.
Yes, you could just ask anybody. You could. I'm just the chairman of NIDO. I'm in contact with all our members. But if you just ask anyone, no one. And we actually took out the time to ask people. I called a couple of people. There's no doubt that in any society there are people who may have some problems with the law. I'm in contact with Nigerians who have violated migration laws, who may be in detention, or even those who may be in prison. In every country in the world, there are people from every country who may, be on the wrong side of the law. But we also always make sure that they are fine, they receive consular assistance, they have dignity, and we try to give them as much assistance as they are. But nothing gives you the right to violate the law or to believe that, something you kind of have a different standard applied to you because you're from Nigeria or from any country. So we try to provide as much care as we can and consular assistance by connecting them to the embassy.
Well, since you've raised the topic, I was wondering about, immigration, which has been a major issue for Europe. It was reflected, over the weekend with the parliamentary elections. And I'm just wondering, how much of an impact that had on the elections in Russia. Did Russia participate in the European parliamentary elections? And was this a topic of main concern for voters?
Russia is not part of the European Parliament, and obviously this special military operation and the NATO expansion closer to Russia border, or do I call it this aggravated military escalation between the East and the West, will even make it less likely for Russia to want to be in such a body next time. We really urge for peace and we urge for more negotiation because that's the only thing that could really move us forward. We have a lot of problems in the world, from farming to unemployment, and we have to let's focus less on wars and move on to improving the lives of all our citizens in all countries around the world.
Thank you so much, Dr. Godwin Ibe, for speaking with us. And I know it is safe in Moscow, but still stay safer. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much, Amarachi.